My sister announced her family was moving into my guest room temporarily, so I could have time to find a new place. I thought she was joking until she showed up with movers, so I shut her down in front of them. I am 36. I am a senior data analyst for a logistics company, which is a fancy way of saying I live in spreadsheets and tell people when their gut feeling is actually a 27% chance of disaster. I like numbers. Do not argue back. If a cell says 4,812, it is 4,812. It does not become basically 10,000. You are just remembering it wrong because someone's feelings are hurt. I bought my 2-bedroom apartment 3 years ago. Purchase price for $112,000. Down payment, $82,400. My monthly mortgage, including Homeowners Association taxes insurance, $2,186. I know these numbers the way other people know their children's shoe sizes. I am the oldest of 3. My sister Mia is 34. My younger brother Kevin is 29. Our parents had us young and chaotic. There was always some bill being figured out, and some envelope of cash in the kitchen drawer that was already mentally spent 3 times. I was the kid who lined up the overdue notices by due date. Daniel, you are so responsible, my mom would say, handing me the grocery list and her card when I was 13. You are like a little adult. That sounds like a compliment. It is not. Fast forward 20 years. Mom still calls me to ask, can you just log in and see why the utility bill is so high? Dad still pretends not to understand online banking. Kevin forgets to pay me back small amounts that somehow add up to 4 figures. And Mia discovered that I will always try to solve it if a kid is involved. She has 4 kids, 10, 8, 5, and 2. I know their exact ages because she calls me to vent about how expensive everything is now and ends every rant with some version of, you do not get it. You only have yourself to worry about, which is half true. I do not have kids. I have a job, a mortgage, and a tendency to say yes if the word eviction is even implied in a sentence. 2 years ago, she called me sobbing. It is just for this month, she said. You know the landlord is being a monster. We are short $600. If we do not pay, he will start the process. You know how long that takes with the courts. The kids cannot be homeless. Dan, I transferred $600 that night, then $400 the next month, then $300 just to catch up on the light bill. I started a spreadsheet called MIA Loans because that is who I am. Over 18 months, the total quietly climbed to $7,240. Every time I brought it up, it turned into a guilt smoothie. I am not asking you to give it. She would say, I am asking you to lend it. We will pay you back when things calm down. You make good money. It is easy for you to say no when your life is stable. Easy to say no. Funny, because I never did. The emergency key happened after one of those payments. She needed to drop the kids off while she handled something at the leasing office. It was so much easier if she had a key. It is just in case, she said. Like, what if something happened to you? Then we could water your plants. You know, family. What actually happened was, the kids came over constantly and she treated my place like a free daycare with snacks. I did not hate it. I like being an uncle, but the boundaries slowly dissolved from emergency access to, well, the kids were bored, and you have Netflix. Little red flags, that is lags. I noticed them. I just filed them under better than being a bad uncle. Here is what nobody tells you about being the responsible one in a dysfunctional family. They will use your competence like a credit card with no limit, and then act offended when you check the statement. The first real crack started in April. Mia texted me at 10:42 p.m. Mia. Hey, what are you doing with the 2nd bedroom anyway? Mia office? Mia what Mia LOL? Such a waste. You do not even work from home every day. Mia. I like having space. Mia. We are thinking of moving closer to you guys. Schools here are trash. We will talk on Sunday. We did not talk Sunday, she announced. We were at my parents' place eating overcooked roast chicken. The kids were running around. The TV was on even though nobody was watching it. So she said, clinking her fork against her glass. We made a big decision. We are moving in with Daniel for a few months. I actually laughed because I thought she meant nearby, like in the city. Into my apartment, I asked. Into your guest room. She corrected like I had misnamed my own property. Just for 3 months max until we build up a buffer. The landlord here is raising our rent to $2,000 to $200. It is insane. You are paying your mortgage anyway. That 2nd bedroom is just sitting there. Everyone looked at me like I had been told I won the lottery. My mom literally said, "Oh, that is perfect." But before I had responded, I had not agreed to that, I said slowly. Mia rolled her eyes. It is not a big deal. We will cover utilities and buy groceries. We are not asking you to pay for us. You do not get how desperate the rental market is with 4 kids. We just need to breathe." Her husband Marcus jumped in. "Man to man," he said, like we were in a bar and not my parents' sticky dining room. "If we crash with you for a few months, we can clear like $4,000 to $5,000 in debt. Then we are good. You know I am working on getting more hours." Marcus working on getting more hours had been the same phrase for 3 years. Small red flag. They were talking like the plan was already in motion. Big A, bigger one. My parents were nodding along like hosts of a daytime talk show. "You guys should have talked to me first," I said. "We knew you would overthink it," Mia said. "You always do. This is simple. Family helps family. We already told the kids. They are excited. They call it the big sleepover." "Do not be weird," I said. "Actually, I am. I am moving." I was not. It was the first thing I could think of that might slow her down long enough for me to put everything in writing. That line, "Do not be weird," has been used on me since I was 6. Translation: ignore your own discomfort, so I do not have to feel mine. In their version of the story, I was lucky and selfish with space. In mine, I was being asked to become a free, indefinite landlord to 6 people in an 850-foot apartment I bought with my own money. I went home that night and opened a new spreadsheet. Tab 1 meal loans. Tab 2 monthly cost estimate if they move in. Groceries plus $1,400. Utilities plus $120. Wear and tear furniture. Random kids stuff, who knows. The thing that bothered me was not the money. It was the expectation that my boundaries were negotiable because I had been too scared to enforce them before. Over the next 2 weeks, the pattern escalated. Mia started texting me things like, "I told the kids they will be closer to their cousins now. Can you send me your building's move-in rules? What is your parking situation? We might need 2 spots for a bit." I kept saying, "But we need to sit down and talk about this." And she kept replying with some version of, "Do not stress. It is temporary." And then she posted on Facebook, "Big change is coming. So grateful for family who open their home when times are tough. #blessed. My aunt commented, "You have the best brother." I had not agreed to anything. I started waking up at 4:47 a.m. with my heart racing, picturing 4 kids lining up for my bathroom every morning and my office crammed with bunk beds and plastic toys. I pictured work calls with a toddler screaming in the background. I pictured becoming the story. Our evil brother kicked us out with no compassion, because that is the other part nobody tells you. Entitled people always write the first draft of a narrative. The lever in the story was boring and powerful, the lease in the law. Technically, I own a condo in a building where the association has strict rules about occupancy. Max, 4 people per unit, no short-term sublets, no long-term guests without approval. I am the only name on the deed, mortgage, and association records. Mia's plan required my consent in writing. She just never bothered to get it. After another round of group chat pressure, "Have you told your boss you will need to work from home more when the kids are there?" For my mom, like it was settled. I made an appointment with the tenants' rights clinic my friend recommended. "Let me guess," the lawyer said after I laid it out. "The family wants to temporarily move in, and you are the bad guy if you say no." Pretty much he explained something I already knew, but needed to hear from a stranger in a blazer. They have 0 legal right to occupy your home. If they start using that key without your permission, that is unauthorized access. If they establish residency, it gets messy. The time to draw the line is before a single box crosses your threshold. "Okay, but ethically, is it awful if I do not let them?" I asked. "There is 4 kids, he sighed. "Ethically, the parents of those kids should not be announcing housing decisions without securing consent. You are not a bad person for refusing to be their safety net. You are just the only functional adult in a room full of people who like to outsource consequences." That line stayed with me. I went home and did what I always do when I am scared. I made a list, changed the locks, put my boundaries in writing. Notify the condo association of attempted unauthorized occupancy. Stop all temporary financial help. Offer a limited, clear alternative I could live with. At 2:13 p.m. that afternoon, I emailed Mia and Marcus. Subject: housing/boundaries. "Hey, I have been thinking about the idea of you guys moving into my apartment. I understand things are tight and that you are stressed. After reviewing my building occupancy rules and my own boundaries, I need to be clear. I am not agreeing to have you or the kids live in my apartment. My second bedroom is not available for that. I will not be able to host you for a few months or otherwise. I can, however, help in a smaller way. $500 transfer to help with moving costs or deposit somewhere else or covering a hotel/Airbnb for 3 nights if you have a gap between leases. I will also be pausing all ongoing financial help, the monthly transfers. I need to get my own budget under control. This is not personal. I love you and the kids, but I need to product in my home and financial stability. Daniel. I reread it 3 times to make sure it was calm and not a manifesto. Then I hit send. 2 minutes later, the typing dots appeared. Mia. Wow. So you are really doing this in an email? Me want to talk on the phone. Mia. No. I am shaking right now. I cannot believe you would hide behind occupancy rules. The kids were so excited. This is heartless. Then came the group chat messages. Mom. Daniel can. Not you just help for a little while. We raised you better than this. Mia, delete that. You are making me look like a beggar. Marcus, bro. This is cold. I did not argue. I just replied, I am not hosting you. I have offered what I can. That is my final answer. That night, I called the locksmith. New deadbolt, new keypad code, only I knew. I also had him rekey the emergency lock that used the old key. 3 days later, I got the call from my neighbor. Hey man, he said, there is a moving truck outside with your sister. She just told me they are moving in with you. Is everything okay? Yeah, I said like everything is about to be okay. By the time I opened my door that Saturday, the moving guys had a dolly loaded with boxes. The truck had 4 seasons moving on the side and a phone number. It was 10:03 a.m. Perfect timing. Because I told myself I would not engage longer than 30 minutes. Open the door wider, Mia said, trying to push past me with her shoulder. We are blocking the hallway. I stepped out and pulled the door mostly closed behind me. Stop, I said. It was not out loud. It was just different enough from my usual apologetic tone that she actually did. What is wrong with you? She hissed. You read my email, I said. I am not agreeing to this. You cannot move in here. That email was insane. She said, you do not mean that. You were stressed from work. We talked about this at Mama's. Everyone agreed. You cannot just change your mind last minute. I did not change my mind. I said I never agreed. She waved that off like a fly. You are being dramatic, she said. The kid stuff is already packed. We gave notice at our old place. We cannot just magically find somewhere else. We are literally homeless right now. Marcus joined us, hands in his pockets. Look, man, he said in that tone that implies we are buddies. We already told the kids this is happening. Do not make us tell them you care more about your home office than your family. There it was. Weaponized guilt. I was not angry. I was not cruel. I was tired in a way I did not know you could be tired. Guys, I am not making you homeless. I said, you chose to give notice without a signed agreement from me, a lease somewhere else or savings. That is not on me. Mia is eyes filled with tears on cue. You are really going to do this in front of the movers, she whispered. You are okay with my kids living in a car? The lead mover cleared his throat, staring very hard at a stain on the carpet. He had probably seen worse. I pulled out my phone. I am not okay with your kids living in a car, I said, which is why I offered $500 or 3 nights in a hotel. That offer still stands. But you are not moving into my apartment. You cannot lock out family, she snapped. That is illegal or something. I have a key. She held it up like it was Excalibur. About that, I said the locks were changed 3 days ago after I sent that email. You do not live here. You have never lived here. You do not have tenant rights in this building. Marcus stepped closer. Seriously, dude, he said. You called a lawyer or something? Yes, I said. I did. And I also notified the condo association that I am not having additional occupants. So if you try to force your way in or start staying here without my permission, security will treat it as trespassing, not a family issue. That landed. In their version of the story, I was being a heartless rules lawyer. In mine, I was finally using the same precision I use at work to protect myself at home. You are unbelievable, Mia said. After everything I have done for you, after all the times I washed your dog, after all the birthday parties we invited you to, I almost laughed at washed your dog as a counterweight to $7,240 in temporary help. Instead, I said I have transferred you just over $7,000 in the last year and a half. I have watched your kids. I have left work early to pick them up from school. I gave you that key for emergencies, not to unilaterally decide that my home is now your backup plan. I am not doing it anymore. That is not what happened, she said, voice rising. You are twisting everything. I pulled up my email and text thread. On April 3rd, you texted, "We are moving in with you. Can we?" On April 7th at dinner, you announced it to the whole family as a done deal. I sent you an email on April 15th, clearly saying no and offering alternatives. You chose to ignore that and book movers anyway. This is not a misunderstanding. This is you refusing to hear no silence. The movers suddenly found reasons to check the inventory list at the other end of the hallway. Mia tried a new tactic. You are not well. She said, this is not you. You are having some kind of breakdown. You have been weird lately, always talking about boundaries and stress. Did your therapist put you up to this? Yes, I said simply. Therapy helped me realize I am allowed to have a home that is not a public resource. Her mouth opened and closed like a goldfish. I took a breath. My offer is this, I said. I will Venmo you $500 right now. I will also pay for a hotel 2 rooms for 3 nights. I will even sit down with you tomorrow and help you make a budget and call some landlords. But you are not moving into my apartment today or next week or next month. So that is it, she said. You are really going to watch us drive away from your door with nowhere to go, Marcus muttered. We should have never told him anything, under his breath. I looked at the movers, then back at her. You have a truck full of your stuff. What I said. Yeah, you have 2 adults with working phones and 2 sets of hands. You have options. You do not have my guest room, not ever. You do not owe me anything and I do not owe you anything. That was my killer line, I guess. Not revenge, just boundaries. I pulled up the hotel booking app on my phone and held it out. Do you want the hotel or not? I asked. She stared at me for a long time. I could see the math happening behind her eyes. If she took the hotel, she was tacitly admitting I had helped. If she refused, she got to keep the script. My brother left us with nothing. We will figure it out ourselves, she snapped. Keep your money. She shoved past me, hitting my shoulder with hers. It did not feel like anything. They told the movers there had been a mix-up with the building and they would have to store everything for a few days. I heard Marcus on the phone saying, yeah, we will go back to my mom's for a bit. So they had somewhere to go. Of course they did. It just was not my place. I closed my door. Then I sat on my couch in the silence and tried to remember how to breathe like a normal person. The aftershock started about 20 minutes later. First, the family group chat blew up. Mia, well guys, Daniel just locked us out after promising we could stay. Kids are crying, no idea what to do now. Mom, what Daniel is? This true. Your sister is saying you literally locked your door in their faces. Dad, this is not how we raised you. I stared at the screen for a second. Before I would have called, started explaining, gotten talked over, ended up apologizing for being harsh. Instead, I screenshotted my email and posted it in the chat. Then I wrote, I clearly said no on Tuesday and offered help in other ways. They chose to ignore that and show up with movers anyway. I changed my locks because the key was for emergencies, not to override my boundaries. I will not be discussing this further. Mom responded with a paragraph about family coming before rules and how I do not understand what it is like with kids. Kevin, who had been suspiciously quiet up to that point, finally chimed in. TBH, Mom. He has been paying for their stuff for ages. Maybe they should have asked first. I almost dropped my phone. Was Kevin defending me? Mia immediately texted him privately and then accidentally dropped a screenshot in the family chat because she is not great with tech, calling him a traitor. That helped. Over the next few days, the tactics rotated. Guilt. You are going to regret this when we are not speaking. And the kids ask why their uncle abandoned them. Anger. You are a cold, spreadsheet-obsessed robot who cares more about walls than people. Smear campaign light. She posted on Facebook about finding out what people's true colors are when you need help and siblings who love their money more than their nieces and nephews. I did not respond. Not publicly, not privately. I muted the group chat. I set a filter so that emails containing certain keywords disappointed homeless cold went straight to a folder I did not open. The practical protections held. The condo association emailed me confirming they had noted on my file that no additional occupants were authorized. Security knew the story. The locksmith is bill $1,189. Felt like the best money I had spent in a long time. I canceled the recurring monthly transfer I had been sending Mia. It was $350. I redirected it to an online savings account labeled Therapy/Peace Fund. 2 weeks later, I started seeing a new therapist who specialized in adult children of chaotic families. You are experiencing withdrawal, she said, when I told her I felt physically ill, saying no. You have been the fixer for so long that holding a boundary feels like hurting people, even when you are just refusing to be used. Am I the bad guy? I asked her. Bad for who, she said. For the family system that relies on you to absorb all the consequences? Yes. For yourself? Absolutely not. The immediate chaos slowly turned into a cold war. Mia stopped texting. Mom sent me articles about the importance of community with no comment, just the link. Dad called once to say, "You know your sister is hurting." Then quickly changed the subject to sports when I said, "So am I." I kept paying my mortgage. I kept using my second bedroom as an office. I slept through the night more often. The funny thing is, the world did not end. 9 months later in January, I ran into Mia at a mutual friend's kid's birthday party. First time we had spoken since the lock incident, she looked tired but functional, kids running around with cupcake faces. "Hey," she said, "how is the place?" "We found a townhome farther out, $2,500 a month." Marcus's mom co-signed. "We are managing." After a long pause, she sighed. "You really blindsided me that day. I sent you an email." I said, "Yeah," she said, "but you have always caved before. I thought you would come around." There, it was finally honest. They had not misunderstood me. They just assumed I had folded like usual. In my head, I said that day was me not blindsiding myself. I stopped pretending I was okay with things I was not. I stopped letting temporary things become forever because I was scared of being the bad guy. "The kids miss you," she murmured. "I miss them too," I said. "I am happy to see them. I am just not going to be responsible for housing 6 people again ever. That is harsh." "Clear," I said. "Not harsh. Clear."